So, I am going to be introducing four different characters in this video. And these are the next four characters that I'm going to be introducing in my book when I continue writing it based on where I left off. I'm working on chapter 8 right now. If you go to ri4c.com, you can read the first seven, or you can read two chapters out of the first seven, which are completed. And you can buy the book and the two books out so far and read the first seven. Regardless, the first character I need to introduce is Tife Taskin. Um, this character is someone who is going to be to offer to help the main characters because of everything that has changed at the facility that they have come to visit. Um, One of them, Alex, was used to the facility before. She was very familiar with it, but in a very short amount of time, the one of the owners of the facility had changed, and the way the facility had run had been changed. It actually wasn't nearly as safe a place to work as it was before. But quickly, the two main characters, Jacqueline and Alex, figure out that Tife is a lot more interested in pursuing his relationship with Alex than he is in being of meaningful help to them. So they need to figure out a way of getting rid of him. Um, even though he means well. Uh, but then the next character who I want to introduce is the main antagonist of the story, actually. I wrote this scene before, a year ago, so, and it's still very good. But so I think I'm gonna reuse that, where basically Jacqueline meets Ryan, but she doesn't know who he is at first, and they're basically having a pleasant interaction for several minutes with that before Jacqueline realizes that he's this villain basically who she's been told so much about. So I think I'm gonna reuse the scene in a different context than I did before and change it into something that happens at the facility, but rather than before they go there. But yeah, another thing that I'm going to add in, which wasn't written before, is that um, I'm sorry, that's for a different video. Another character who I'm going to introduce is Thema, who is in a romantic relationship with Ryan, despite being a lot younger than him. Ryan doesn't tend to be a very good guy in most of the things he does. Um, so, I had a scene where they are being romantic with each other, like a lot of couples are. Nothing really that explicit, but uh, in the initial version, Jacqueline was sitting there in the same room as them, and it was very awkward. I'm thinking I'm gonna do the same thing, but cut it down to on size for how long it lasts, and then I'm just gonna change it so that maybe it's a security camera or something, and Jacqueline ends up in a security camera room somehow because they go to a lot of different rooms. Um, and I'm thinking she ends up seeing this same situation playing out, except over the cameras instead. Um, and the last character is someone who, in the story, is called the Friendly Robot, but for simplicity, I'm gonna give this character the name Angela just for this video because she doesn't have another one. Um, so basically, this robot is someone who would more commonly be at the facility than Jacqueline. Um, this person had their brain taken out of their body and put inside of a robot, and they can't remember too much about their actual identity, but they still have their own personality and everything. And the reason I point out that they're a friendly robot is because that's not very common in the sort of setting that the main characters find themselves in this chapter. So, one of the things about the facility that the chapter is set in is that the basement has a lot of robotic humans in it who are dangerous to be around. I was telling Nick about this, my business partner, and his roommate called out when he heard me, "Everybody knows don't go in the basement," which is exactly the case in the chapter. Um, but, anyways, Jacqueline has to resort to going into the basement regardless. She doesn't end up having a choice. Uh, and this is where she meets Angela, and she and Angela basically end up guiding each other out of the basement, even though Jacqueline has to go back in later. Um, but yeah, those are the four characters who I'm going to be adding to Chapter 8. I hope this video is an enjoyable preview into not only my story, but my process for coming up with characters, forming them in my head, and putting them into the story. And I hope I explained it in a way that you found interesting. Thanks for watching.